What's up, everybody? Welcome to We Have Cool Friends, the weekly podcast where we talk to our cool friends about the cool things they're doing. I'm Greg Miller, and this is my cool friend, Devon Sawa.
How you doing, Greg?
I'm good. How are you, man? Wow, a smattering of applause from those around. Yeah, exactly.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Well, you never know with the audience, right? The audience being Kevin and Cool Greg, what they're going to clap for.
I don't know how you got them all in here.
Nah, you know what I mean? We pay them. That's mainly how we get them to come back each and every day.
Perfect.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me to San Francisco. This is awesome.
Yeah, no problem. So
This is a lot of fun.
Of course, it's a time warp for you. We have cool friend, viewer, and or listener.
Yeah.
Because you're here to do a games cast with us today
Yes.
to talk about ancestry.
Yes, which was a whole other fun experience.
Yeah, you can go back in the archives. You can find that probably 7 weeks ago. Yeah. But on top of that, I was like, well, if you're here, you have to do We Have Cool Friends.
Yeah.
This show we've been excited to do forever, and then you are the first one we've ever recorded.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm
It's a lot of
nervous.
pressure.
I'm nervous.
Well, you can't. I mean, you're going to be the best and worst, no matter
usually
what.
you can go to a show and look and see what what it's like, what the tone is. But this is just throwing me to the wolves here.
Well, I mean, you've followed me long enough on Twitter to understand what you're getting into, right? Because I mean, the whole reason we wanted to bring this show out, right, is that I miss interviewing people. I loved Up at Noon, actually talking about other people's lives and stuff. And we tried to do it on GOG. It didn't work out that because people wanted us and da, da, da. I've talked to you about it. I've talked to you about it too.
Yeah.
So here we are with a brand new show where we get to interview our friends and talk to them. So I want to start with the burning question everybody probably has for you.
Okay.
You don't eat till 5 o'clock? I tried to buy him lunch today. He's like, I don't eat my first meal until 5 p.m.
Everyone, I started this intermittent fasting thing, and I just started doing it again. I had done it I did a movie with Guy Pearce over the summer where I had to get big for a biker role.
Okay.
But stayed lean looking as well.
So you need to put on muscle.
I need to put on muscle and shred fat, and I tried intermittent fasting. And I get this small little window every day to eat, which is like 6 or 7 hours, where I just eat all really good stuff, and then I fast for the rest of the time. And the whole idea is that your body goes, your body starts breaking down. Once it gets about 12, 13 hours, your body starts going for the fat.
Okay.
It starts breaking down the fat, and that's where it gets its energy from. So you're supposed to, shred more fat, but
it works. It worked great.
Well, it worked great for the movie. I just started doing it again because it also helps me watch my diet better.
Okay,
you know what I mean. If I'm more conscious of what
you're saying, all good stuff. What does that mean? You're like what, proteins and greens?
Yeah, but protein.
Gummy bears.
I could still eat a little bit of carbs.
Okay.
No gummy bears.
No gummy bears.
I mean, having kids though, it's tough. Because there's always shit in the house now. But yeah, just like clean food, like salads, like proteins, whatever it is.
And so from 5 to what?
5 till I go to bed. 11, 12.
Okay. Are you basing like I want this many calories kind of thing? Are you counting it that way?
No, I just try to get as much in as I can.
Oh, okay. So
it's
nonstop eating.
That was the thing with the guy. I wanted to put on weight. So and that was the best thing is breaking fast, like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, because you're so hungry and you're about to eat. So you're planning out the meal and you got 6 eggs and
salivating
and whatever it is. You get this gigantic meal and then you just keep eating for that until you go to bed.
So,
as much as you can. You want a snack? Have a snack.
How long does it take to get used to? Because are you hungry now? Do you feel hunger? Do you remember hunger? Is that just a constant state now?
No, my stomach will start growling a little bit come 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
But no, you get used to it after a couple of days.
Sure. Okay. Because for me, it's such an energy thing where we do all the shows, and I notice that when I do skip lunch, I'll get to that point where I feel like my energy is dropping and I'm not as into it.
Well, that's the thing is certain people react to it differently. Like for me, come 11, 12, 13 hours, I start getting a new energy because I'm reaching for the fat and I'm burning the fat.
Oh, yeah.
But some people, my wife couldn't handle it very well.
Yeah. I just wish I had the fat to burn. I would do it. I just got none of the fat to burn.
Yeah. There you go. Don't do it then.
I wish I could.
Why would you do it?
I don't want it to break down the muscle of what I already have. Your wife couldn't do it though?
She couldn't do it. She didn't work for her.
Yeah.
She felt sluggish and slow and it just didn't work for her. So she stopped. Yeah. But for me, it worked great when I was trying to gain the weight.
Now, you brought up something interesting there.
Okay.
You're a dad.
I'm a dad.
You got you're health conscious.
Yeah.
Are you health conscious with the kids? Like, are they not allowed to eat McDonald's? Are they not allowed to have the candies?
No, they're. I mean, they've had McDonald's.
Sure.
But they're very health conscious. You know? We try to teach that. We're not trying to be those hippie parents where everything's it's boring and whatever. Yeah. But we try to teach them that if you're gonna have junk food or whatever, it's a treat. And you got to look after your body and
sure.
and eat healthy, and then on the weekends when we have In-N-Out Burger or whatever it is, and it's a treat.
Okay. So, how old are the kids now?
5 and 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that going?
5-year-old boy. Well, my 5-year-old boy's he's a handful.
Yeah.
He's my mother says it's payback, but he's a handful. And the little girl who everybody says is going to change when she's a teenager, but right now she just reads and plays by herself, and is quiet and sweet and likes ballet, and so it's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah. Had you always wanted to be a dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I waited till I did.
Yeah.
Because my 20s were all a crazy, blurry
I bet. Yeah.
nightmare.
I think everybody's 20s are, let alone when they're famous Devon Sawa running through their 20s.
Right. So I'm glad that I waited, and they have this Devon as a dad now.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing you think what's caught you the most off guard about having kids?
All those cliches that you hear about, like, just there's nothing more important than your kids, and you do anything for your kids. It's all true, man. It's all true.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's an amazing experience.
Okay. Recommended. You
Very
would do
recommended.
again.
It's work, man. It's like, I try to, on Twitter especially, I try to be as honest as possible about the struggles, because some celebrities like, oh my God, kids are great, and here's my beautiful kids, but it's not. Anybody that tells you that their kids are perfect is fucking lying. You know what I mean? It's there's no perfect kids. It's a struggle. It's work. But it's a payoff.
Yeah.
It's a huge payoff. But it's hard sometimes.
Is 2 the limit? Are we stopping there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it. As soon as I heard that the second was a girl, I was like, oh.
All right, checked all the boxes. It's done. Locked.
Boy, girl, why would we go again? We're done. So.
You said your mom says it's payback.
Yeah.
Talk to me. I obviously know your work.
Yeah.
Are we close with the 5-year-old to when you, for a contemporary with you, that you knew you wanted to be an actor? Or how does that all work? No?
Well, I got my grade 5, I believe, the teacher called my parents in for a parent-teacher, the bad ones.
Oh, no, not the normal scheduled conference.
Not the scheduled
Cool Greg knows those ones.
And she suggested that if I wanted to be the class clown, center of attention, that maybe I'd join a theater group.
Okay.
And that's how it started. So they put me in this really shitty theater. Am I allowed to swear?
Okay. Curse away. Fuck it.
Yeah. So they put me in this really shitty theater group, and I just fell in love with it. And that was that. So I must have been what?
5th grade, yeah.
5th grade, 10, 11,
I
somewhere
don't know.
in there.
No, that's the thing, is that it all loses.
Somewhere in there.
No,
it was like 9.
Okay.
I think it was 9. And then.
You're 13 when you go to. No, that's not
to
right.
high school. Yeah, that's
is
7,
that right?
13.
Okay,
yeah, so it was 9.
So 3 years. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And then I booked a part, and there was like an agency attached, and I booked a part on 21 Jump Street.
Wait, so was this in LA? Did you grow up in LA?
It was in Vancouver.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Canadian. I forgot
lots
about
of big
that.
Canadian beachcombers, 21 Jump Street, all the good stuff.
The big ones, yeah.
All the big ones.
So you go right from the theater group to being on 21 Jump Street.
I stayed with theater, but I got little small gigs in different shows. And
was it from the first class? You were like, I'm all in.
I loved it.
Yeah,
man. I'm one of those. I just had a conversation with another actor who was a child actor, and we talked about the 2 different types of actors, and I got very fortunate. I always wanted to be there. You know what I mean? I was on a lot of sets where, like, especially Little Giants, where Little Giants was 90% of the kids were found in malls, and a lot of the kids didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And I really always remember wanting to do. I didn't want to go home at the end of the day. I wanted to be on camera. I wanted to, learn about the cameras and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, every part of the movie getting made, right?
Yeah, I legitimately wanted to be doing what I was doing.
That's awesome. Did you look down on those other kids then? These mall kids?
No,
I want to be there.
I didn't understand it back then.
Yeah.
I didn't really get it. I just didn't get it. But they never went on. There was that one and done.
Sure.
They didn't want to do it, so they didn't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, but not you. You stuck with it.
Yeah, I stuck with it.
I've always wondered, for child actors, like, did you like the work, but then you have to go to school while you're on set lots of times, right? Don't they have to have like a trailer and a teacher and stuff?
It was hard for them. They had a hard time with me, and the
you don't say.
I remember I always finding a way to go have a conversation with the director because they would yell cut, and I would know. It's like, oh my God, I got to go back to school, because they'd have to get a minimum of 3 hours a day in, which doesn't sound like a lot, but
it sounds terrible though.
It's horrible because you have one teacher staring at you the whole time. Where you don't do that in real school. There's no way you sit for 3 hours consecutively and do work. So I'd always find a way. Whenever I knew that, like, you'd hear cut, check the gate, I was like, okay, shit, now I got to go back to school. So I'd find I find a way out of there. I'd come up with a conversation with the director to have, or I'd just disappear.
Did you find yourself missing traditional school, or did you hate that too?
There's certain thing. Why I went back to Canada, and because luckily I was in movies, so it was only 2 months.
Great point. Yeah,
got a couple months, 2 months. So I got to go back and forth. But I did miss a lot. I never went to prom. I never went to a lot of school dances. I had to quit basketball. I had to quit. I was asked to try out for the under 18 provincial soccer team. I didn't because I would have to make a choice, acting or try to be the first famous Canadian soccer player. And so luckily I made the right choice.
Right call, I think. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, there's certain things that I miss, but I no regrets. I traveled the world. I worked with people like Spielberg and Demi Moore and all these just like tons of people that were and traveled. And so
it's cool. Yeah, because I feel like the switch of going from like when I was in school, right? It was very much like I hate geometry. I know why geometry is important. I don't get it. I'm never going to use it where I want to go. I just want to go write about video games. I want to go do this thing. I knew where I wanted to go. So like having to sit through these classes that I thought didn't matter to me, I was like, ugh. I can only imagine how much worse it would have been if it's like, cool, you're writing about video games, but also you can only work this many hours, and then you have to stop and you have to go to a class where one person's staring at you while you do the lesson.
Right.
Yeah. No, couldn't.
It was tough. Yeah. It was tough. And then, like, for instance, there was other Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who I did school with for about 3 months. He loved school.
Yeah.
He wanted, like, he quit acting, went off to Harvard, and now he's doing big things and whatever he's doing. But he was there to learn, and he was taking. And we were in the same schoolroom as him and I, same teacher.
Yeah.
And we're two different kids.
Yeah.
Two different kids.
So I'm assuming was it like a weight off your shoulders then when you, I guess 18 or whatever, when you graduate high school? Is that
18. Mom was no longer coming to set with me.
Yeah.
I moved to LA by myself.
At 18.
18.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You wouldn't know. You don't want to be.
I survived a year before I was in every nightclub and running around. I had like at 19, I had Final Destination and the Stand video out, and I was like
king of the fucking world.
It was yeah. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy. And there was no cell phones back then, so no one was taking video or anything. Clubs were pretty different back then.
Do you think about that now when you see this kind of crap?
I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, right.
I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, in the same way we were like me and my friends, we would backyard wrestle and we'd film it on the VHS tapes.
Oh yeah.
And if we could have, we would have uploaded it to the internet, but we couldn't figure that out, and it was too expensive when we think about it. And thank God.
Right.
Because the things we were doing, and as stupid as we were and what we were saying, and what we would have never thought, why wouldn't I put this up? And I can only imagine it, trickling back to us getting in trouble at school, let alone having the world at our fingertips, being a mega celebrity movie star. What actually blows up in your face and goes that way.
Yeah.
So, what you loved the acting, you loved the work. Did you expect fame? Like when you're a kid and you start off on this trajectory and you start doing it, you're just stoked to be working, or are you like, I want to be a movie star, I want to be recognized?
No, I never. When I got into when I started. I was about 15 when it all clicked. Like I was doing it it was all fun up until about 15. Mm-hmm. Like it was all just about I was playing.
Sure.
15, I saw Pulp Fiction in Savannah, Georgia. I saw it like 6 times in the theaters.
Sure.
It was the first time that it clicked for me. It was the first time that I actually, and then went back and watched a whole bunch of other movies. But it was the first time, I guess, that age, of that particular movie, those performances, that I went, holy shit, like. There's so much more to this than I've been doing. Like right now, I've just been having fun, and it's been great, and all these people and these places. Pulp Fiction kind of switched it for me, and then it became.
Have you met Tarantino and told him that?
No, but I just worked with John Travolta, and I told him that.
Nice.
But I mean, yeah, I'd love to work with Tarantino and tell him that. But yeah. And then you go back and you start watching Rain Man and what else, Awakening, and all these. I can go to the list of these movies that De Niro and Hoffman and all these guys are doing, and that's really why I did it. There was nothing. It was never about like red carpets or flashing bulbs or any of that shit. Or premieres. It was always I always wanted to be, I always wanted to do the Scent of the Woman. I wanted to play that guy or play in Goodfellas or.
Do you feel like you've done it? Have you? When you look back at your cast of characters,
I've done some things. It started to veer. I did, and I was doing what I wanted to be doing when I was doing like the parts in SLC Punk and Idle Hands and
Fuck yeah, Idle Hands.
Those were I was doing it.
Yeah.
And then it just started. Then for some reason I started doing some shitty horror movies, and because Final Destination was huge, and all of a sudden they were throwing money at me to do these weird things, and then I just got burnt out and took some time off.
Yeah,
and,
you stepped away for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I stepped away for about 5 or 6 years.
Is that just because you'd been doing it for so long?
I've been doing it for so long. I wasn't doing the stuff I wanted to do. I needed to stop. It was more important what going to the Playboy Mansion or the clubs or all this stuff than it was the why I got into it in the first place. So I went back and went back to Vancouver and just did some other stuff. And then got back into it. And then I ended up on a TV show for 5 years, Nikita, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then after Nikita, I that's when I started to get back into what I want to do again. And this part that I do with I'm in a movie with Stallone and Batista. It's a bad guy role, which I'd never done really before. And it was starting to do the stuff that I want to do again. And then the Travolta movie, which is the first time Travolta's done one of these in a while, but he plays an obsessed fan who is in love with this B action film star, who I play.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, he ends up kidnapping me and tying me to a bed, and the whole kind of
misery, and also full circle stand.
Yeah, full circle stand. It's got a little misery, little stand. And Fred Durst directs it, and he does. He brings kind of that. I don't know. He brings this really cool vibe to it.
Yeah.
The soundtrack's phenomenal. He's got this really eclectic group of songs in it that it's really cool.
So that's a hell of a cast, or hell of a roster right there, right? Fred Durst, you, Travolta.
Yeah.
How does that one in particular happen? Did they come to you, or did you go audition? Is it blind? Did somebody came to your agent?
I did a movie with Travolta years ago, and he suggested me to Durst, and Durst was like, "Oh, let's see what he can do."
Yeah.
And so I went and I must have laid half the script down on tape. I just went into a studio and just did all these. I did most of the scenes, put it on, and sent it to him. And he called me up and goes. I was waiting for days and days, and finally he gives me a call, and he goes, "Hey, it's Fred. Listen, I just want to tell you, the tape was good, and we really liked it, and you got the part." So I was like, "Oh!" And then we did it, man. It was like a two-hander with me and Travolta, and it was phenomenal.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's all done.
It's all done. It's all wrapped, and,
yeah.
and I've just seen it, and it's great.
When's it out?
We don't know yet. They're going through the which festivals do we do? What way do we go with this? I know that Fred wanted to do John wants to do theatrical. Fred wants to do Netflix, like a Netflix original, because that's the fucking cool way to do it nowadays. Oh, yeah. Apparently. So
apparently,
I don't know.
You're like, I just make it and walk away. I don't care what.
When I first came back when I was doing Nikita, they were like, "Oh, they want you to audition for this big Netflix show." I'm like, "Netflix? That'll never work. Shows on Netflix? That's ridiculous. Who's gonna watch that?"
Oh no, Devon.
I know, right?
You could have been in Glow. I don't know. That's too new, I guess.
I would have been in Glow. I love that show.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So what's different this time around? You talk about, you take this break. There's two sides of it then.
I don't know. I'm really not. I'm just doing stuff that I love to do. The biker role with Guy Pearce was just something that was, it was really just a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do characters more too. Nikita was great. I did it. It was a long stretch. I don't know if I want to do that again.
Okay. Doing serialized content, you're doing one character for
a long time.
Years.
Even though they would listen to me whine and all of a sudden made two characters into it.
They were listening. They were trying.
They were trying.
There you go.
It was great. I mean, if I'm going to be on a show, it's going to be a show like that. And what the thing is they were. I was guest starring for the first season. I was guest starring for the second season, and then I was like, "Come on, make me a series regular. Make me a series." And then they made me a series regular. And by season 5 or season 4, end of season 4, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Can I get out of here? I'm like doing stuff.
But it was a great cast and great crew, and the damn good writers came off of that show. So
see, now let's go back to the first part of the career. You say at 15 you see Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
and that's what
14 or 15.
That's what changes the game for you.
It's changed the game. Completely changed the game.
Where are we at in your career? Had you done Casper yet?
Done. I did. That was on the movie Now and Then in Savannah, Georgia. We're shooting. Christina Ricci and I saw it a bunch of times in there. So I had done. I'd done a bunch of TV stuff and a bunch of commercials, whatever, and I'd done Casper and Little Giants, and this movie called Boys Club, And then it was Now and Then.
Because that's the crazy part is I think even back then, like to the movies that somebody would be like, oh, I saw it and that's what, crystallized it for me that this is no longer fun in games. Like this is the thing I want to do.
Well, if you go back, I mean, you could just, I've just recently watched, what did I watch? I watched Wild, well, that was after, but if you watch any of the scenes from Little Giants I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not taking anything serious, which is probably a good way to do it anyways.
Yeah, to be a kid in a kid movie.
Yeah, but I was just having a good time. It was just, a bunch of kids on set and they're eating craft service and, we get to wear weird clothes and go to different places.
Sure.
That's all it was until I was 15. And then it was about, and I worked with Harold Guskin in New York and I wanted to train and I wanted to learn to be better and I wanted to be different characters and I wanted to be edgier. That was the whole thing. Because at that point, all those teen magazines were out.
Sure.
I didn't want that.
You don't want to be on Teen Bop.
Of course I don't.
No, that's JTT's territory. Let him have it.
Yeah. Well, they weren't going for it and I was in it. And so then I was
a bad boy.
So then I wanted to rebel. I would do interviews for those teen magazines and they would ask questions. I would give them the craziest answers and they would print them like I was serious.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, well, I want to be edgier, and I would gravitate towards the Stan parts and the SLC punk, like anything with drugs or alcohol or swearing or you know what I mean.
Try to shake that, but you couldn't.
I was trying. I mean, I guess I did a little bit. But yeah.
So when do you is it all happening like a frog in a pot of water where you don't notice it's happening, or do you know all of a sudden that you do one of these flicks and it's different, like people are stopping you on the streets or seeing you, like, because you take off obviously, like did you know that was happening? Did you understand it was happening?
No. Well, no, I don't know. I didn't. I was fearless back then. I didn't really think of a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew that I changed as an artist. I knew that I was an artist now. Like,
yeah.
That was
okay.
the thing.
That's a big deal. That's a big step, right?
I was doing something that was. I wasn't just doing something. I was actually an artist, and I accepted that, and that's all it was. But the difference between me now and me then, and I wish there was a little bit more of me then and me now, because back then, I remember the audition for Idle Hands. I walked into a studio network kind of it was all the heads of Sony, TriStar, Columbia, all sitting there. I didn't give a fuck. I was throwing myself over a table with my hands. It was fearless. You know what I mean? And they loved it. And why would they not hire me? I don't know if I'd do that nowadays.
Well, you would. Come on.
I don't know. I don't know. I just went in for a meeting where I had to do a death scene, and I didn't do the full death scene. I don't know. It's just like you just
come on, don't cower down.
I know.
Get on it. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
But that's crazy to think about. It's like I can't imagine the amount of bravado you would have had and confidence. Understandably so. Yeah. But you're coming off all these pictures. You're doing so well that you go into Idle Hands and jump around. Yeah. It's crazy to think about what you would have been like then.
Yeah.
Because every kid thinks they're invincible.
Yeah,
every teenager, right?
The SLC punk stuff was, that just came out of nowhere. Just sitting on the whole Jesus on all that. It was just, running through the sprinklers. It was just, you're just fearless back then.
Yeah,
you just do shit. That's and who cares what anybody thinks?
Hell yeah, fuck yeah, that's a good way to live, right?
Yeah.
Idle Hands, is that your best work? Because it changed my life. It's the reason I'll be a Devon Sawa fan until I die.
Oh, that's very sweet.
No problem.
It was definitely one of the. Maybe still to this day the most fun I had on a movie, just because of the cast and
sure.
It was it's definitely the most fun I've ever had. I think that the performance-wise, this next one in Escape Plan is I was first time playing a bad guy, and I impressed myself with how evil I got, without being too Hans Gruber. Idle Hands is still a favorite. It's a top shelfer for me. I loved it.
What do you? When you get stopped, what are people stopping you for? More likely than not.
Well, Casper is still, believe it or not. But it depends on the people. You know, if there's like a pothead or a it's a pothead, I know he's not coming up for Casper. It's definitely going to be either SLC Punk or Idle Hands. It's really it varies. It varies all the time.
Did you or do you? I think I know you pretty well.
Yeah.
But did it ever wear on you of it's people coming so many actors worry about getting typecast or being known for one thing, right?
Yeah.
And you're known for several one things. Right. I feel like, right? Well, did you get pissed off when people would come up?
I was only pissed off about the teen magazines. I hated those teen magazines. You have no idea how 20 years old and you're a teen heart. I hated the word heartthrob.
Sure.
I hated the word tiger beat.
I
hated that shit.
Yeah.
I really know. That's the only thing.
That's cool. Because I always wonder about that of being stopped. You're like, oh yeah, I was in Idle Hands, but I was also in this. Or yeah, I know Casper, but what about this? And blah blah blah.
Yeah. I mean, I hated it then, but now I've that's.
I think that happens with it seems like with every actor, right?
Yeah.
You get into it eventually. Right. Like, oh, at least I'm known for something. Like it's better to be known for one thing to one group of people. But
well, it just was the next stepping stone. That got me into that, and that got me into that, and it was kind of so.
What is the connection? Because you bring it up, and then obviously we have questions coming up eventually from the audience. So many people want to know about the Stan stuff with Eminem.
Yeah,
like was that another audition or
this? No, that was. So I had a friend who called me one day. He knew he was friends with the casting director that were looking for the Stan at the part, and he called me up and says, "Listen, Stan Dr. Dre is a big Final Destination fan, and they wants to know if you did the Stan video." So I called my agents and my manager at the time, and I was like, Eminem's got this new music video. It's called Stan. I really like the song. It's really good. And they're like, "No, absolutely not. You're not doing it." It's like you can't do. Eminem, one hit wonder. He's got one. They were really pushing me to not do it, and I did it anyways. And I went into the studio. I met Eminem and met Dr. Dre, and then
were they on set while you shot, or you just met them like?
Eminem was there for half a day.
Okay.
Dre was a co-director on it.
Okay.
And that's another one of the coolest things experiences I've ever been, just because like I grew up listening to Dr. Dre, and that was my teenage years.
Directing you or whatever.
And now he's directing me.
Yeah.
I remember walking down this dark street with Dre and his posse, and just me, and I was like, "This is the fucking coolest thing I've ever done." You know what I mean? I felt like
I can imagine. Yeah,
it was like Dr. Dre and his posse and me. In a dark street.
And like, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm invincible.
Exactly. That was when, you were on top of the world, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned it was right after Final Destination.
Yeah.
Idle Hands has happened. SLC Punk has happened. Like, everybody fucking knows Devon Sawa.
Yeah.
Like, that's the power you must have wielded in these clubs.
Yeah, well, we don't get in that.
Yeah, no, I don't know dirt. I'm just saying.
One thing about the Stan video is they didn't tell me I was going to lip sync the song.
Oh, really?
They didn't tell me that. They gave me the lyrics. I don't know if they knew, but they gave me the lyrics on the day.
Yeah.
And they told me, by the way, you're going to lip sync this. And here's 3 verses of a rap song, White Boy from Canada.
Yeah. No rhythm.
No rhythm. That was actually one of Dre's notes. One of his first notes. He ran from behind the camera. He goes, "This time I need you to try with a little more rhythm." I was like, "All right, cool." But
explain rhythm to me.
Explain rhythm to me.
What do you mean?
Apparently I thought I was on, but apparently I was like a smidget off.
Yeah.
My lip syncing.
And that'll get you. That'll get you every time.
So then they said, "Okay, well, we just want you to get key words, like you're writing the letter, and every once in a while look up and say one of the lines." It's like, all right. So
that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Go.
That's cool.
There's a little...
So now you talked about we mentioned Final Destination. When you're making Final Destination, do you realize like this thing's gonna be the fucking shit?
No,
everyone's gonna love this.
Not at all.
It's gonna launch a series forever.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I didn't. I mean, I knew it was good.
Yeah.
I knew when we did the. First of all, you don't see things like I didn't see what was going on with the bus thing. That you don't get to see that. That's all done in the editing room.
Yeah.
And those guys are genius. The train sequence was done with a huge mirror. They don't really tell you this stuff. It just felt like another. It felt like another high school because there was a bunch of really pretty actors on there.
Sean William Scott, beautiful.
Yeah. But we were sort of not pretty. Maybe the hot young. One guy was from Dawson's Creek. Sean William Scott from American Pie was like the hot young.
Sure.
And but we didn't know those guys, Glenn Morgan and James Wong are genius. I mean, what they did when I was blown away when I first saw the film because I didn't see that on the set while we were shooting.
Right.
You didn't see a lot of that stuff. That was all done, in the editing room,
of course,
and
for a horror
in
movie
their
like
mind
that, right?
before, but yeah, turned out phenomenal.
Hell yeah. And then then you never come back.
You never come back.
What the fuck, man?
That's a whole other podcast.
We got plenty of time.
Well,
and how much you want to get into it or don't?
No, I'll get into it. Why not? I mean, it's. I'm sure you could.
The reason I'm talking on the thread is that I
was a bit of a pain in the ass on Final Destination. That was after Idle Hands was my last movie that I did as a responsible young adult.
Oh, okay.
And then I started clubbing and whatnot, and for me it was I did Final Destination and I was partying a little bit too hard, and that was it. And so after that movie was when I was told, maybe you should take some time and figure things out.
Yeah. Were you receptive to that at the time?
Yeah, and I did a couple movies after, even though they told me that I still did a couple more movies.
Well, that's because that was the thread I was talking about, because you talked about the fact after Final Destination you did some shitty horror movie stuff.
Well, I did Slackers and whatever, and then and then it started going downhill. And I did a couple of other things, and then I went away for 5 or 6 years, and I didn't want to come back. I was done. I'd worked since I was 9, 10, right? And I got sober, and I changed my life, and I met my wife, and we went off to Southeast Asia, and we came back, and I was in the real estate business. Things were going really, really good. And then some agent at my agency didn't get the memo that I wasn't acting anymore.
Wait, we still represent Devon Sawa.
Well, no,
I'm sending him out on stuff, guys.
So I'm out checking the regular mail, right?
You're in your bathrobe, you got your coffee.
Pretty much whatever I was wearing. So I'm checking the regular mail, and in there is an old, like a script, like a paper script in an envelope, and with a cover sheet. It was for the Mark Wahlberg movie, the video game that I think.
Mark Wahlberg video game?
Max Payne.
Oh,
yes. So it was an audition for Max Payne, which I don't know who got the part. Anyways,
nobody saw Max Payne, so that's fine.
So good. This all happens for a reason, right? Yeah. Anyways, so I auditioned for it. The casting director, they loved it. I was in the running for it, and the casting director told me, my agency had a new manager, and all of a sudden I'm back in LA and acting again. But I realized really quickly that I missed it. That I really want. I'd gone back to Vancouver, and I bought some old buildings, and started to fix them up. I was hauling drywall up the stairs and doing a lot of the stuff myself, and it was fun. But I missed, I missed being an artist, and so I think it was when they sent me that audition. I think it was in the little. I went to this place, Casting Workbook, in the little studio with this little acting coach guy that reads off camera, and I realized right there, holy shit, I missed this. Yeah. And it didn't take a lot to convince me to come back, and I came back, and I was.
You're back?
A new guy, and I ran into I had a meeting with the Final Destination guys, and kind of apologized, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
To have the moral fiber, the character, right? To be like, I sucked, and
I stepped up. I stepped up and said, listen, I was by the age of 21, 22, I was a pain in the ass. I had a problem, and just needed to fix it, and so
I assume they were receptive to that.
They were very receptive to that. I did a short with one of the creators, it's funny how everybody they love a comeback story. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. At the beginning, some of the doors were closed. People were like, Devon, oh my God, I heard stories about that, but eventually, it was doors were open, and people love a comeback story. But now it's been it's been a while.
Now you're back.
now I'm back. I got some movies coming out. Here again, I'm working with Stallone. Come on.
Yeah, exactly right at the top of the pile. That's all happening. What did I might be jumping to a conclusion here.
Yeah.
How did your wife feel about you coming back? Because she didn't know Devon Sawa the actor, right? She
didn't.
Devon Sawa the drywall hauler.
That's not what I was doing. No, she didn't know that guy, and she was in the film business as well as a producer. She was producing like Canadian television. Like she was doing she's gonna kill me for this, but she was doing the knockoff television. Like she was doing Canada Biggest Loser, Canada Bachelor, Canada. You know what I mean? Because we Who
wants to be a Lumiere? Zing! Gotcha, Canada.
Yeah, she was doing all that, and I came down here on my own a little bit first, and tested the water, and then as it started to pick up, she quit because we were talking about starting a family anyways.
Sure.
She came down. She became an American citizen.
Awesome.
We had 2 American kids.
Yeah.
Now we're just a happy American family.
Yeah.
Bunch of immigrants.
Yeah, I was going to say, the American flag out there, saluting every day,
exactly.
right? Just being all set to go into and stuff.
We know more about the Constitution than 99% of Americans.
Yes. Well, my Canadian wife asked me questions about America, and I'm like, I don't know why that happens or what's happening.
How many states? No, she came down, and we had kids, and she's doing her thing, and she's thinking about going back to work now that they're in school, and so.
Was there ever a fear on your part or apprehension about coming back because you were afraid you'd go back to being old Devon?
No, I had no fear of going back to old Devon. That's I mean, I'm 13 years sober, and that's a huge, thank you. That's a huge thing. The only fear I had coming back was those doors that were closed.
Sure.
And I doubted that they would ever open again, and I doubted that people would want to give me a second chance, but they did, and it was. And now the older I get, that little window of 19 to 24 is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Who can remember?
Yeah, but you know.
So when you're looking for future projects, how far away are we, you think, from the Idle Hands reboot, where you'll be the dad now or whatever? And
we're very close to recouping the budget of the first one. we are about 5 years away. We're waiting for it to hit India, and maybe we get a couple more million there.
Sure, yeah. Was it a huge bomb? I don't even remember.
It
it
wasn't a huge bomb. I mean, it definitely got a cult following.
Oh, yeah, totally.
They pulled it. You remember it happened. It came out the weekend after Columbine. So Columbine happened, and then the next. So we were about to go to the premiere. The premiere got pulled, and the whole basically our movie
it happens in a high school, and there's a bunch of murders. I never thought about that.
Yeah, so we got pulled. We got pulled from. They didn't play in 3 different states. I'm sure Colorado was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. Because that's the thing is, like, for me, Idle Hands was such a. Got it from Blockbuster, right? And it would rent it over and over until I finally, when I got the PlayStation 2, got the DVD, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm listening to the commentary tracks and looking at all this stuff. Yeah, but I didn't realize there was controversy around it.
We had a different director when we first started the film. And then he was Tim Burton's guy. And it had a very comic Tim Burton feel, which is how I got on the film. I brought the comic too, and then they got rid of him, and I think that some of the studio wanted, because there was, I know what you did last summer and Scream and all that shit. So they were like, "Whoa, hey guys, we can't do comedy." And they brought in this other director, and he's great, but I don't think he was pushing for that. I know what you did last summer, kind of horrible, and I was, Jim Carrey was like my idol, and I wanted to
especially you have to
I wanted to Bruce Campbell myself all around the studio every day, and so that was the only thing that was kind of it didn't work so well together, as he and I we kind of butt heads a little bit. And it's shitty. I wonder what, if I went completely my way or if he went completely his way, I wonder what the film would be like. But
do you feel, you talk about Final Destination, you don't know what it looks like till you're in the theater and stuff. Does this kind of thing happen often, where you get hired or you pitch yourself or audition one way, you get there, the film's completely different, and then you're kind of just lost out there?
No, Final Destination was a different beast. Final Destination, those guys, they came from X-Files, and they're very, very, very smart guys. They're really smart dudes, and the wheels are always turning, and they don't need to tell people shit. We know what we're doing. There's your mark. Here's your lines. Don't change them, and just say them, and we'll figure out. And that's kind of like they're very experienced.
But
guys.
In general, for your career, does that happen often, where what you audition for isn't what the movie or show becomes?
Sometimes. Yeah. You could usually get a good feel, like if you're auditioning or meeting and you talking to the director, producers, they usually tell you, and you usually get a good feel.
Okay. The feel sticks. You know what you're doing. Okay.
Sometimes.
Usually. Yeah. Otherwise, you're hauling drywall again.
Yeah. I wasn't hauling drywall.
Listen, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
There's nothing wrong with hauling drywall. Listen, I bought this little heritage building, and I did a lot of work on it on my own. But yes, I guess I was hauling drywall, and it's a shitty job. There's no elevator in this building.
No. Heritage building's not going to have that. No. Do you still own the building, or do you sell the building?
No. So here, it's very sad, because we went in there. There's two stories. First of all, I bought the building and it was falling apart, right? And so we slowly had tenants moving out, and as they would move out, we'd go in and we'd gut the units, and we'd fix them up, and we did the electrical and the plumbing, and we did some of the facade, and we put plants, and we did the whole, you know what I mean? We lipstick on a pig. We brought it back to life. But I remember that the People magazine came out one time. For the birth of our first son, and I guess one of the tenants wrote in the comment section that she lived in my building, and that I had mice, and I wouldn't get rid of the mice for her. Yeah. The building had mice. When we bought the building definitely had mice when we got there. Trust me.
Listen, the mice were there before we got there.
It had mice, it had crackheads, it had, like, you know what I mean? So I feel bad that she had to deal with it, but there's no mice in that building when we left. We fixed it up. We put a lot of love in it. We didn't make a lot of money, but we put a lot of love in there. And then some guy bought it, and now it's sad because I drive past it all the time, and he's just let it go to shit.
It's back to being Mice Village.
Plants are all dead. It's just...
It's no good.
No good.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
What is that like? That People Magazine.
I see how many times he says hauling drywall.
People Magazine comes out to cover the birth of your child because you are an international celebrity, and then in the comments is a tenant talking about this like such a micro issue for them, which is a huge issue for them.
It's a huge issue. There's no one should have to live with mice, and if someone like, but it's. There's nothing you can do. I mean, I hopefully no one read it. Like, I don't know.
Oh, no one believes the comments. Like, sure. Yeah, right, lady. Devon Sawa is your landlord. Get out of here. Yeah. Saw him hauling drywall the other day. He doesn't own a building.
He was at Home Depot hauling
He's over there.
Loading up his drywall.
How do you deal with it now that, like, you're Devon Sawa and you're doing all this work still? You're doing this movie with Stallone, right? You're working with John Travolta.
Before we go on about this hauling drywall, I still have a house that it was the first house we live in. I have tenants in there, and they're very nice people, and I still clean the gutters and
I believe it.
I would haul drywall. Damn it!
Yeah, you're a down to earth dude. I get it. But how do you deal with the fact that, like, I mean, for us on social media and Twitter, right? Like, we're internet famous. Nobody cares. So it's like when people want to yell at me about my Uncharted review, great, whatever.
Right.
For you, I feel like. Dale, I see you engage with people who are mean on Twitter.
Yeah, I shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't. I definitely don't do that. That's not the way to really do it. But on top of that, like, you're Devon Sawa. I feel like I've seen you make comments or you respond to us, and people are always like, holy shit, why is the idle hands guy talking to you? And it's like, wait, why are you calling him the idle hands guy? Like, he's a man who has a life and buildings he owns that he does a whole bunch of things for because he's a blue collar dude.
Oh, see, I could take that. That would be an okay, the idle hands guy or something. Yeah. I know that people are going to be dicks, but there's certain ones that are like, why would you say that? And I should just ignore them or block them or whatever. But it's just so much fun to just go at it with them.
No, don't stick to their level.
I know it's gonna haunt me in like the future. Like 10 years from now, it's like I'm gonna be on some show and they'll be like, "Did you call this person a whatever?" And
you're like, "No," and then they show that tweet. Like, "Fuck, I did call him that. That's on me."
Yeah.
Because I see you get into it, and it's also that weird thing of just like. People have their image of you, right? Yeah. And I feel like if they haven't kept up with Nikita, or they haven't kept up with anything. Yeah. It's like, oh, Devon Sawa's still doing stuff. Like, well, yeah, he's doing a ton of things. He's all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like to do a lot of press either. I really don't. I don't like to do a lot of press.
Thanks for doing this then, huh? Coming out of here.
Montreal,
Yeah, exactly. We got him in Montreal to play a video game, and that got him here.
I knew that. Well, I have comfortable talking to you.
Yeah.
I feel like
that leads me to an interesting segment of the show of We Have Cool Friends called The Friend Zone. This, of course, is where you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny, ask us questions. We will bring them up here to whoever's on the show. I went over there today. Alex Krebs writes in and says, what kind of threats has Greg made towards you or your loved ones in order to get you on the show? You're a legitimate friend. We've talked. We hang out on Twitter all the time. You're an internet friend like everybody else because we all travel and do too much.
Right.
I don't remember how... we moved from I like Devon Sawa movies to I DM Devon Sawa quite a bit and we just talk about video games and hang out.
There was some sort of the last place you were at.
IGN.
Some of the guys over there, Goldman and
Eric.
That's kind of the that was kind of
Is that where it started? I couldn't remember when this came up, and I didn't know if it was
a couple of the writers, Terry Matlis, and then there was all kind of.
Okay, it was just
I just wanted to be in your guys' posse.
Sure.
And so, because
that was the things. Yeah, I remember. That's right. It was Eric Goldman, wasn't it? IGN TV back in the day that got us all hooked up because he was a huge Nikita fan. Now it's all coming back to me.
He came up there all the time.
Yeah, right. And I think I must have been trying to pitch you an Up at Noon back in the day.
Maybe
the old talk show over there. But yeah, now it's just like
the Beverly Hills offices.
No, well, that's where they were. I was always up in SF. But yeah. But I was always trying to get you. I remember that it just all of a sudden just became normal that Devon Sawa was a friend.
Well, you asked me to come up a couple times to San Francisco, but I just had nothing to talk about at that time.
Sure.
And now there's stuff to,
Exactly, yeah. Video games. You have video games to come up and talk about. Yeah. But it's funny how it happens of like, I didn't expect it ever when I was like, I want to write about video games when I grow up, right? I never thought that would lead to the fact that somehow I'd be sitting with Devon Sawa, you know what I mean? And it would just be my friend Devon. It wouldn't even be I'm here to strictly talk about Idle Hands and how I watched every Halloween and blah blah blah. Like
Right.
you know,
Do you?
Yeah, for a long time we did that. Yeah, me and my friends would get together on Halloween and watch Idle Hands.
Right.
It's a great one. Great one.
Yeah.
A lot of, we can call my friend Poe if you want right now.
No.
One of his favorite moments is a line I ripped out of Idle Hands, where you remember when and I'm sure you remember the movie word for word, but it's when Penub and Seth Green are trying to leave the house, and Penub's like, maybe we should clean this place up, and Seth Green's like, yeah, while we're at it, why don't we just clean the whole fucking house? This ain't our mess, and walks out. And we were at a Burger King, and Poe's like, should we pick this up? And I'm like, yeah, while we're at it, why don't we just clean the whole fucking Burger King? This ain't our house. We laugh.
You know, Seth came up with a lot of that stuff. He's one of the, still to this day, one of the, him and Jason Schwartzman are like, you'd be crying all day long. They're so damn funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still like keep in touch? I mean, that's a weird thing.
Via Twitter with
Right.
Seth. I haven't seen Jason Schwartzman in a lot of years.
Sure. Yeah. Because I would imagine. Yeah, I think everybody wants to imagine, and like, even when people talk about it on a press tour, right? Of like, oh, we were family on set, right?
Yeah.
Like when the job's over, it's back to your real family.
Usually,
and your real
there's a
life.
few that I've stayed in touch with, over the years, but yeah, usually it's like, oh, I love you, I'll see you next week, and then you never talk again.
Of course, yeah. Well, I'll never forget this summer together. Every summer, let's come back together and make this thing happen. The Friend Zone is not just people on Patreon. It is people in the Kind of Funny office. A young boy named Tim Gettys is stepping up to the shock mic today. Tim, what would you like to talk to my friend Devon about?
I got two questions.
Oh, you're already laughing.
Question number one.
Yeah.
When it comes to Casper, A Spirited Beginning, and Casper Meets Wendy featuring Hilary Duff, was there ever any talk of you reprising your role as the titular Casper?
Okay, so I mean, that's interesting to bring that up. So I never played the voice of Casper. You were
just when he became a real boy.
And the reason I want to bring this up is because I literally, there's this other kid, and he for two or 3 months he shot the Casper movie. They did the voice. He sat behind. Well, they had a like green sock or something.
Garbage bag on a stick.
Who knows? And he did the voice, and he did it very well. And he did all the other voices for all the other movies and the cartoons and whatnot. And 3 months into production of Casper, they decided they wanted to shoot an alternate ending to Casper, where maybe he comes back to life, and so they wrote this little thing up. They did it. He's like a year younger than Christina, and at the time he was shorter. He wasn't playing Casper. That's the only reason that he didn't get it. So they did an open nation search for it. I put myself on VHS tape, sent it down there, and it ended up being on the right desk at the right time. I got it. Blah blah blah. So I was there for a day or day and a half or something like that.
Sure.
So that other kid did all the other work, and I told people for years all the teen magazines, even though the studio wanted me to go there. He's very upset about me taking
to this day.
To this day.
Poor guy.
You know what? He has every right to, because like whenever someone thinks about Casper, that movie, I get the credit, and he did the work. So he got a hold of me on Twitter.
Oh my
Some
god!
Casper beef going on.
Oh my god!
He got a hold of me on Twitter, and I can't remember. There was a
Was this public or your DM?
public.
Oh lord!
Yeah, no, because an article came out about
Ghost fight.
Yeah, exactly. So the article came up about Casper or whatever, and he wrote about a Casper. I joked about a Casper sequel, and it went viral. And one of the us or people or somebody picked it up. Devon Sawa was ready for a Casper
reboot.
So he tweets me, "What? Where you come in for the last day and do your part, and I do all the hard work?" I'm like, "Ooh." And,
You're like, too real.
and then he hits me with this. By the way, I dubbed your voice. I'm like, what? So apparently he's saying that the Can I Keep You is his voice, and he dubbed it.
And you didn't even realize that.
I still to this day don't know whether he's lying, whether for all this time that's his voice.
Damn, what a way to cut, like not even cut you at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're looking back through all the years. Like I nailed that line. I nailed it.
I've never even seen the rest of the movie. I just fast forwarded that one little.
Stop at the Dan Aykroyd section.
So
then keep going. Yeah,
exactly.
Got to see Ghostbusters.
But anyways, he put in all the work, and what was the question?
That was it. The second question.
The sequels. I never. He did all the work on those.
I just
two.
wanted to reference Casper Meets Wendy.
There you go.
But the second question I got is Eminem Stan, obviously one of the most iconic rap
Also
songs
not my voice.
of all time. I'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
That would be awesome if Eminem's like, what? See, I did voice voice in Stan too.
But it's crazy that you played Stan, which now is in the dictionary as a word. In the Oxford Dictionary, Stan is a word.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's a definition.
For being like an obsessed fan? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When did that kind of come back into relevance for you? Has Stan always kind of been a thing like for that people reference with you?
My brother sent me the article on how it was in the dictionary, and I didn't know people were really using it, and I don't think people that you were using it really knew. That's what I heard, is that a lot of these young kids were using it.
They have no idea.
They had no idea where it came from. It was a word that had snowballed so much that the majority of people using it, the type of people that were using it, the young kids, whatever,
millennials,
14 to 20 something, I don't know,
avocado toast
had no
people.
idea where it was from. So,
crazy.
but there you go. It's a word in the dictionary.
Your cultural impact cannot be denied.
And I gotta say, love you in idle hands. Never
Thank you,
forget.
sir.
Yeah,
Thank
never
you.
forget. No, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna bring it back. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, we could call it that. Who's next in the friend zone? Oh, it's Nick Scarpino, producer / seducer.
Just kind of pushed my way.
Yeah, no, Cool Greg was waiting a long time, but it's cool. Don't worry.
Oh, Cool Greg, get in here. Okay, fine. Look, so you want to talk about movies that deserved a sequel?
Here we
We
go.
got to talk about Slackers.
Yes,
Sir.
I complimented Slackers. He's like, yeah, whatever. Kept going. Big Pete was in it.
Still trying to recoup the budget.
Which I just don't get. I watched this movie and I'm like, I think this is one of those movies that was just so underrated
Yeah,
and just
I think so too.
people just didn't get it at the time.
Yeah.
It reminds
And,
me of a PCU.
It's a PCU, it's a darker PCU. And I thought it was
I meant
pretty
like
genius.
the thing, like if you know Slackers,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
PCU, you fucking love them.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, man. Just kudos to you on that one. 'cause that was a-
Jamie King, she's in the Stallone movie too, from Slackers.
Oh, yeah, that's
The
right.
girl. She was my love interest in Slackers and is Stallone's love interest in the movie I just did.
wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying this is happening in the Slackers cinematic universe? This
Yeah,
new Stallone movie.
yeah. It's
Didn't
the Slacker
know.
sequel you get. There
Oh
you go.
God, I wanted it to. But yeah, I just wanted to give you kudos for that because I
Thank
know
you.
that's one of those that a lot of people. There's some pretty diehard fans out there.
Yeah,
I'm
it
one
was
of them.
also a lot of fun to shoot that one.
I just think it was such a fun, like kind of genius movie that was very,
Yeah.
very misunderstood for its
I
time.
think so too, and a great. I mean, Siegel and
Dude,
Schwartzman.
great cast.
Yeah.
Great concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's it. That is all.
Thank you.
Wow, I really thought you were gonna have some weird kickboxing, MMA, diet question. when
We
you
did.
came
We
with that.
Wow, we
an
talked about
hour
that back
before.
there.
Yeah, but I know when
Yeah.
it's not cameras on, did it really happen? That's the big thing. You can't-
Well, we got all the good stuff out back there, and now you,
You
guys
really
can
want us
just
to
talk
talk about kickboxing for now?
I'm just saying what I expected him. I didn't expect the left field Slackers.
Did you guys talk about kickboxing? Yeah, did you
No, we didn't
talk about it at all.
So a lot of little people don't know that about you necessarily. But you are a pretty well versed kickboxer, like Muay Thai
Well,
kickboxer.
World champion, right?
I'm
Gold medal.
I'm a high level hobbyist.
There you go.
How's that?
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That checks
I've been.
out.
I started doing it. I started boxing when I was hauling drywall. That was part of my training.
Of course, yeah.
High-
If you can haul
That's why I was
if you
doing
can
it.
kick this down, you can carry drywall.
I am the tiger. I am the tiger.
It's on fire.
Yeah, no, I got sober, and then I like 2 weeks later went to a boxing gym and started boxing for a few years, and then went to Thailand with my wife, Southeast Asia, and I tried the touristy Muay Thai stuff over there, and I came back and never went back to boxing. I went right back into Muay Thai, and
So yeah, you never went back to boxing.
never went back to
beyond that.
boxing. I mean, you kind of got it in Muay Thai, but
Yeah.
I just liked kicking shit.
What's the
kicking bags.
experience of Muay Thai a little bit more intense out in actual Thailand than it is here?
I want to go back again and do it now that when I did it, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I loved it. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
literally like those side of the freeway, $5 for an hour of, real Thai training.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I went in there and like, oh my God, this is cool. And then I came back here and went to this place called Legends and started learning there. And we went back to Thailand last year. But I never got in there because I had kids, and we just made it all about the kids. We went to Vietnam and Thailand and just kind of bounced around everywhere.
Now you've done obviously you do a lot of fight choreography stuff
Yeah.
like that, but you mentioned you've done some jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah, a little bit. I actually did a twister on ABC television.
Okay.
Like if you go there, did this movie, no one cared. Like I was pitching it to the producer. Oh, it's gonna be a twister. I'm gonna put the guy on, crank his neck.
Yeah.
And I made them do it, but I didn't get the heat that I thought it would get.
I mean, that's real talk. Is that I mean, obviously, like Muay Thai is probably a lot more is better for choreography for
Yeah.
fighting, right? It's a
Yeah.
lot more dynamic to watch.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's an issue with? I mean, does that kind of dissuade you from wanting to do more jiu-jitsu because it's not very much fun to watch on camera?
Jiu-jitsu is a lot harder to learn, I think, and so I don't know. I do jiu-jitsu a little bit, but I'm not very good.
Not very good.
I feel like most people would sell, even black belts would tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I do jiu-jitsu. I'm not.
No,
very
I'm
good.
really not good. No, I'm really not. I'm much better stand up. But I love it. I still do it. I think it's great. I think it's a great exercise.
Cool. I'll let Cool Greg ask questions now.
Thank you.
All right.
Was the impetus to go do boxing initially because of the sobriety? Was it like you needed to go do something?
I needed to get I needed to get in
Yeah.
shape.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with boxing. I wasn't the type of guy to go get on a treadmill and sit there for an hour and go
Sure, yeah,
treadmill,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? I just wasn't doing it. And then there was this gritty little boxing gym in Vancouver and called Griffin's. And I just went there and it was a night. It was the first couple months was rough.
Just getting your ass kicked?
Just get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
I was, out of shape and I'd just partied for like 5 years straight.
Yeah, your body was in a different state than it
not
needed to be
good.
punching nonstop. Yeah.
But it was good. It was good for me.
Good. Cool, Greg. This is my friend, Devon Sawa. What question do you have for him?
What's up, bro?
What's up, dude?
A couple of months ago, I remember my whole timeline blew up because they were saying that they interviewed Stan and asked him who he stands.
Right.
And I read it, and two of the names that stood out to me were Eminem and Jay-Z. So you're a big Jay-Z guy?
I don't remember saying. Yes, I am. Yeah, of course, I'm a big Jay-Z guy.
So the question
did I say Jay-Z though?
Yeah, you said Jay-Z.
I
You said Kendrick Lamar. You said a
Oh,
few
okay.
of
So
them.
I gave a list of people. Yeah,
Biggie, you said a few of the
I
guys.
saw Kendrick at the Staples Center, and that guy commands the stage, man. He's really, really special.
Definitely up next show.
Love Jay-Z.
But I wanted to ask, who do you think is better, Jay-Z or Eminem?
Eminem.
Oh, damn. All right.
Okay, cool, Greg. Please the microphone.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
I love Jay-Z. I think Eminem is a very talented fella.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever talk? You keep in touch with him?
No.
No. Christmas card contact? No. Just drop a line.
No.
Get ready for Stan 2.0.
Still hasn't called or wrote.
Is that a tired thing you get a lot too? You get a lot of that?
No.
No.
Not
Okay.
really,
Okay.
not
Okay.
really,
Good.
not
Then it was an
really.
original. Okay.
No.
Barrett Courtney, what do you have to say to Devon?
Hello.
Hey, what's up,
Of course, you're in many films going late 90s, early 2000s, right? The one that was most important to me growing up, SLC Punk.
Right.
Very great coming-of-age story. And then naturally there's the sequel, Punk's Dead,
Yeah.
that happened a couple of years ago.
Right, which was made for no money.
Right, because it was all crowdfunded and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So my question that I've always wondered is, what was it difficult going back to a role after like 18 years? Was there a different mindset? Of course, Sean, the character Sean, was completely different in the sequel because of all the life changes he had. So was that kind of a difficult going back to that? Or?
It wasn't difficult. I really wanted to go back to the acid guy.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go back to that guy, but the director felt that I'd made some life changes with that character, and so it wasn't hard at all because it was almost like a whole brand new character. I just had to keep in mind that he has tripped off his ass on all that acid, and so he's not all there. Other than that, it was pretty. We were basically any of the old characters that came back. We were just trying to introduce the world to these new.
This new wave of
these new punks that were in it. They were the leads of the movie.
Cool.
Machine Gun Kellys and
Right. And then when you did SLC Punk, what was your reaction like going through the script and whatnot of looking at the acid trip scene? Were you worried about going in there and doing the shots of like the shot of like the knife going into your head and freaking out your mom and all that stuff?
Yeah, the director yelled cut on one of those takes and said I needed to I remember he got a little bit upset. It goes back to like, you're just fearless and
Yeah.
I think I was getting such a reaction from the crew and everything because that's all of that was improv and running around the table. I think at one point it was getting so heightened that it might not have been because it was a real knife. We didn't have a prop guy for a fake knife or anything, but it got a little heightened and he said you need to
Tone it down.
Bring it down before someone gets hurt. You're, I was 18, 19 years old, and I'm fucking on acid, and I got a knife, and my mother's a goat or bull or whatever. So yeah,
awesome.
But it was a lot of fun that shoot.
It seemed like a lot of fun, even though like the scene itself is really intense.
Yeah, we're trying to do another movie. He and I in New York. For no money, I got to work with the guy because he reminds me so much of. He just disappears. He's a real artist, and but he's so good, and he's got this movie that we might do in New York, another like crowd-funded, no money, but just a bunch of artists to get together,
Do
It's a
some cool
horror movie.
stuff.
Yeah, just do something interesting.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for answering my questions.
Yeah, man.
Anytime, Baron. Oh, Nick's back.
Okay.
He's got more
Give a
kickboxing.
shout out to Nikita. I don't know if you guys talked about that or not.
We did a little bit.
That he did it for a long time. Yeah, you love
great.
Nikita too.
Oh my God,
Eric
that show
Goldman
was-
came, of course. We're talking about Nikita.
Yeah, dude, that show was like really, really good.
Thank you.
And like seeing you pop up on it, I was like, holy shit, dude. He's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was fun.
You got
It was fun.
jacked.
Those were I got to give it up for Nikita too, because when I thought the doors were all closed and I had just come back to Hollywood, and that was the first door that opened. Those guys said, "Hey, of course, we'd love to have you."
That's
and
awesome.
that was kind of, and then at the end of the series, I was like, "Oh shit, maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was."
Maybe I can
Did
still
they,
get it.
Maybe
did
I
they
could
tell you
still-
how much you were going to have to spend shirtless tied to a bed when you first took the role?
I didn't really know, but I made a joke on Twitter about like the CW's annual post-Christmas weigh-in, like, and it really is kind of like
they intense
that.
about
you
it?
know? CW's, they like their fellas and.
I mean, I'm
girls
not
to
gonna lie.
be-
That cast was probably one of the best looking casts of any CW show I've ever seen.
I can't do that anymore. It's to stay that. To like,
how what did you weigh when you did that? Because you were big. You put on a lot of muscle for that role.
no, I was smaller than I am now.
Really?
Yeah, but it was.
Dude,
less,
you look jacked
I was
on camera.
Less body fat, but I was 34, I think, when I was doing that, and now I'm like 40. So I mean, age is changing. It's getting a lot harder.
Don't I know?
Now I'm trying stupid shit like intermittent fasting. and
Yeah,
stuff,
like,
you know
what
I mean?
can I do to
You know what I mean?
jumpstart
It's like,
my
oh,
metabolism?
God, I just can't get up in the morning.
Awesome.
Soon I'll be going to one of those like men's health things and getting a little help.
You get an injection.
Getting a little injection.
Hell yeah,
or
man, that's our
something.
God-given right.
All right, get out of here.
The
Stop
second I
thinking
can do it,
about it.
I'm doing TRT.
Get out of here with your growth hormones.
Can I
Nick.
put TRT on the company credit card? Is that possible?
No, you can't. You're not shirtless enough for that at all. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been my cool friend, Devon Sawa. Devon, thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks,
A pleasure
brother.
as
This
always.
was
I'm glad
awesome
we
to do the
come.
first show.
Yeah, no,
Love
of course. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of We Have Cool Friends? God only knows how many episodes we've recorded after this, but before you've seen them. So eventually your feedback will be taken into consideration. Let me know on Twitter. Let us know everywhere on Patreon. If you like the show, support us, patreon.com/kindafunny. That's where you can be a bronze member and get into the We Have Cool Friends friend zone, where you can ask our guests all sorts of cool questions. Devin, what do you want to promote? Where can people keep up with you? Where should they be looking for you next?
God, when is this coming out?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. I think that Stallone movie's coming out July 4th weekend.
Okay.
In the fall is The Moose, the Fred Durst directed with John Travolta. I'm really excited about that one. And I got a movie with Guy Pearce that's just in the can, so we don't know when that's coming out. Probably in the fall. Other than that, yeah, and that's what I've been doing. Okay. And I'll probably be on something by 6 weeks. I don't know.
Okay. Well, follow him on Twitter. Just don't
Yeah,
need him
follow
on
me on
Twitter
Twitter.
because he will call you out for being on Twitter.
dude, I'm gonna stop doing that.
Okay, good.
No
Now
more
I'm gonna-
hauling drywall or calling people on
Oh,
Twitter.
now he's too good to haul drywall. Everybody, I don't know. Until next time, ladies.